What's going on, everybody? For tonight's podcast, we have Mr. Robert from Snapshot Mining and Milling. What's up, brother man? How
Not
you
much.
doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. We got James Dell over there in the corner. How you doing, James?
Hey, James.
I'm having a good night, man. I'm having a good night. Glad to be here.
Good freaking deal. Good deal indeed.
Oh, yeah.
Well, to start, what's that, brother man?
I said I always look forward to Thursdays, man. It's a great day.
Man, me too. Tell me about it. And we got Robert on the podcast, finally. Hell yeah. It's
Well,
good to have you, brother man.
it's good to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you,
Most
Robert.
definitely.
Well, thank you.
Most definitely. Well, let's go ahead and start the podcast with a few questions, Mr. Robert, if you don't mind.
Ask away.
All right, for sure. Sounds good. So we're going to go ahead and start with some of the basics. So when did you first personally get into mining?
Well, my dad, he always loved going up to old mines and all that kind of stuff. First mine I was ever in, believe it or not, I was 3 years old. That was called the Carpenter Mine or the Vermilion Mine down in Sanders County, Montana. And then he partnered up with a guy on a mine, and they took a backhoe and cut the roof off of it, and they'd take it in there and muck it out. And us kids would sit on the waste dump there, going through galena ore, sorting it for my dad and his partner. So,
Wow.
and then I was 13 years old. Marvin Eichert down on the Vermilion. He had a claim, and he actually hired me to do summer work with him and paid me in gold. And so I started doing placer then. And then I went to work for John Lawrence when I was 18 years old at the U.S. antimony mine in the reduction plant where they take antimony ingots and they burn it at around 900 Fahrenheit. Collect the oxide that comes off of it, bags it up, and it's for clothing, fire retardant, plastics, all that kind of stuff. And then he ended up with the Yellow Jacket mine down by Salmon, Idaho. It's world renowned.
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, you want to go work underground?" I said, "Fuck yeah, man!" So I went underground and
Nice.
broke out underground, and then from there went mapping, surveying coffins. Coffin is actually a hard rock mine that's never been closed. And the reason why they call it a coffin, because it could be your coffin. Mine companies would go and dig open mines that were blowing shut during World War II. And we'd go in there and map and survey them and all that. So, and then just after that, after I was done with that, I started dabbling around a little bit. Just prospecting and stuff like that, and finally found the mine. It was the Iron Daisy mine down on Prospect, close to Murray, Idaho. A lot of people know Murray.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so we spent 6 months up there living just like the old boys did. Best time of my life, no power. Daisy Creek was so cold that you would usually wait about 2 weeks before you'd even bathe, because you jump in and you came out like a woman. Anyway,
one time and you're done for another couple weeks, right?
Oh, hell yeah. First time I got to tell you guys this, I'm like, oh, man, I can smell myself. I'm going to take a bath. So I stripped down bare naked. I jumped in this big, deep hole, and they said I shot out of there like a rocket screaming. Jumped up, hurried up, lathered myself up, jumped back in, crawled back out, and stood by the fire for about a half hour bare ass naked.
I bet. I don't doubt that one bit.
Yeah, and so anyways, we were up there. We actually, you want to talk about poor boy operation. We had 2 coolers. We had a big, huge cooler. We figured out every 12 of them was 1 ton. We actually took an old piece of tin off the mill and bent it around this cooler, shoved a hole in it, ran a rope in there with a stick holding it so we could pull it. And then we had a smaller one, every 16 of those. Well, in 1964, they had caretakers from 1934 all the way up to 62. There was a big flood and washed out the road, so they pulled the caretakers out. Well, it was never a patented mine, so eventually they just went, the hell with it. It's going to cost too much to rebuild the road and that. So we were digging it open, and had it just finally got it dug open, cribbed up, and the Forest Service came up to us and said, "Hey, you guys got to vacate. It's fire season," which was totally understandable.
Right.
Anyways, we vacated, and then somebody went up there and did a bunch of vandalism and pulled a bunch of the timbers out. They just collapsed right back in. And it was like, we're packing the ore in and out 2.5 miles. We actually had a big brake drum, semi brake drum I packed up there on my back with a piece of 1-inch plate bolted to the bottom so there was no holes.
Holy
big
shit.
piece of hydraulic ram, and we actually bent over a tree and was using it for like a one stamp mill, and we'd crush up just a high grade ore, and then we'd take it over to Kellogg there, and there was an assay or he'd assay it and then pay us for a 5-gallon bucket, and that company made our money.
Shit.
And then when all that vandalism happened and that, I just walked away, and then I moved up here to Libby. I started my mining company, and where I got Snapshot is right by the Iron Daisy. There was a mine called Snapshot, and so I was like, man, I need a freaking mining name. Iron Daisy sounds too girly. There was the Princess, a mine there that I had. I'm like, no, not Princess. And so there was the Snapshot, and they had one named the Rock's-Right. So I'm like, Rock's-Right or Snapshot. Snapshot sounds better. So that's how Snapshot Mining and Milling got its name. And then I started, just prospecting around Libby. Started realizing that these mines up here in Libby aren't even close to being played out.
That's
right.
And ended up finding the Silver Crown mine, which is kind of hard to see that ore right there. And this stuff is extremely heavy. You've probably seen some of my videos. There's 2 mines that I have, one right beside, right in line with the other one. One's across the draw from the other one. And the Silver Crown was the first deep silver mine in Lincoln County, started in 1887 by George Blackwell and his partners.
Wow.
Really neat story on that one. Anyways, it was kind of funny because people are telling me about this mine. It was one of those mythical mines. People, oh yeah, there's a mine with a complete stamp mill, and well, where is it at? Oh, it's somewhere up there. We can't remember. And so I found a log jam there in the creek, and there was, and I still have it to this day, an old pop top, big old beer bottle. And so a couple weeks later, I went up there and I walked way up half the side of the mountain, came over, dropped down, and I'm like, oh, there's a little waste dump here, and I could see this little hole, so I started kicking it out, crawled in there, and that's when this crap was looking at me, and I went, holy shit. Well, then I crawled down the mountain and ran smack dab into the mill.
So when you first saw that, was it hard to see, or was it something to where, you looked over and you're like, holy shit, you saw the glint, you saw the shine to it? When you first looked over, you saw it and you said, oh shit, here we go. I think I'm onto something. What was your next steps as far as once you found it? What were your next steps to, get something established?
Well, see, and that was the hardest part because, breaking out with a mining company that was already going, I learned how to hard rock mine. I know how, I learned how to, use an air mucker, slusher, drilling, loading, all that stuff. And so there I was sitting there going, okay, what's the next steps that I do? Well, no one would tell me. And so it was just pulling my hair out. And one guy was like, hey, you need to put a claim on it. Well, how do I put a claim on it?
Right.
And so I went down to the courthouse. They tried to help me out as, what little bit they could.
Right.
And so I being dyslexic, I have a hard time reading, I'm sitting there pulling my hair out. Well, then finally it started making sense to me. Okay, I got to do this. Okay, this is, okay, what's a quarter section? So then I'm asking questions. Hey, what's a quarter section? And then finally they're like, oh, okay, well, you just take the quarter, the 1 mile, and you got 4 quarters. This is northeast, and stuff like that.
West corner,
and so
east corner, and so on.
The whole shebang. Yeah.
And so I started doing that. But now I don't know if this shit's good or not. So
Right.
I'm sitting there going, okay, what I seen underground for other mining companies, this shit's hot. Well, then I went down to the Forest Service, and they tried to help. Believe it or not, that was back when they really tried to help you out. And they're like,
How many years ago you think that was?
that was in. I started my mining company in 2000, and in '98. Sorry, it was '98 or '97. And when because I was dabbling in mines down in Thompson Falls and all that. And then when I came up here, it was actually 2002 when I got this claim. And so, just trying to figure out stuff and all that. And then I bumped into a guy that was a mine engineer for a big mining company. And he was like, hey, send it to this place. This is the assayer. Send
Right.
it to the American Analytical Service in Osborne. So I did. And they told me what it had in it, 9.78 ounces per ton in just gold. Well, I'm sitting there looking at the pyrite in this stuff, and I'm going, well, where's the gold? I don't see the gold.
Right.
And then they told me, well, it's trapped in the pyrites. And so, and I just went from there. And then, as I went, I like I said, I'm dyslexic. So I actually learned quick as long as I'm doing the work myself. And so, then it started coming easy and easier,
Right.
knowing what to do and all that kind of stuff, to start a LLP and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I got partners in that. Carl Clausen, you probably see him on my Facebook. He's my vice president. Hell of a guy.
Hell of a guy. Yeah, I was just going to say,
Tom
hell of a guy.
Movie. I hope he's watching it. I got to tell you guys a funny story real quick. He brought my truck over to have it federally inspected when he brought it down from Canada.
Yeah.
And he loves his wife to death. Julie is an awesome lady. He adores her. But he's a guy, he likes a nice rack. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what guy who doesn't like a nice rack.
Anyways, so he's telling my cousin and I the whole time, oh, yeah, we got to stop at this gate. He got big old jugs. My cousin's kind of weird, okay? He can sense things. So, anyways, Carl goes, bump into the gas station. And my cousin Tim goes, I bet you it's a guy working. And we turned the corner and Carl goes, looked right at us. And he goes, and we're like, man, So now he's vice president, man boobies.
Vice president of man booby. That's damn right. Holy hell. No, I love it, man.
Yeah, get him good.
Oh, man.
And that's like when I started doing these videos on Facebook. One day I love YouTube. I watch YouTube. I don't watch TV. I just watch YouTube, and that's it, And believe it or not, I watch mine exploring of abandoned mines.
Right.
And anyway, so I was sitting there and all of a sudden it was like how to retort your gold. And no shit, I seen these two bozos sitting there with a spoon, taking a torch, heating it up, burning the mercury off. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to get somebody killed.
That's a great one.
Like, you know what? Like I always say on all my videos, us miners help each other out. That's it.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
And so I was like, I don't want other people standing there breathing in the fumes for mercury. Right. So I started doing these videos, of how to float gold with, fish oil and pine oil and
different
stuff
techniques.
Like that.
Yeah, different techniques.
And that was on my old Facebook, and you guys already know how I am. I'm going to just speak it the way it is. Well,
yep.
I didn't get put in Facebook jail. I got executed. They just my whole page. So I was happy about that one. But no, and I mean that's what I started doing. I was like, and getting back to John Lawrence that owned the U.S. antimony mine. When I first got this first mine up here, I needed ore cart. Right. And so I went to John and I said, John, you got hundreds of ore carts. Can I buy one? Nope. And I'm like, well, do you know where one's for sale? Nope. And I said, well, if you do, let me know because I need an ore cart. And he says, I got ore carts. I'm like, I know. Why won't you sell me one? He goes, Robert, I don't want to sell my ore carts. But I'm going to rent you one for $1 a year. And I went, what? He goes, $1 a year, I'll rent you one. I said, $1 a year?
Miners helping miners.
And that's what he told me. He said, Robert, us miners help each other out. I don't want to sell that ore cart, but I'll let you have it for a year, each year for $1. Yep. And I've lived up to that ever since.
That's
you
awesome.
know,
No,
and John passed away last year. I mean, it hit hard when John passed away because I always looked up to that guy, and then, he finally passed. He was having health problems and that. But, so when I started doing all these videos on Facebook, I mean, and a lot of people are like, hey, Robert, we want more videos. We want more videos, but I'm busy, so I have a hard time trying to do videos and then I'm up there and I'll just do a little quick video. And, so a lot of people don't understand that. Sorry, not your lighter. And, so I don't, you don't always get to see everything in my videos, what we're doing. And I'm always a proud dad, but this spring, my 12-year-old boy goes, Dad, would you hire me up at the mine? I said, yes, sir, I will.
I bet
that's
awesome. Yeah, I was going to say, I bet that puts a tingle right here.
Oh, it does. And when I looked at him, I said, I'll tell you what. I said, because this other mine, the one you guys see this stuff in all the time, and I'll explain this stuff to you, my uncle. I was like, hey, why don't we just get this mine here? And because he's an old miner from way back in the day, and no one's ever put him on a claim, So I was like, hey, you're part owner of this. And so I was like, my wife gave me a heads up that he was going to ask me for a job. And so Lindsay and I already talked about it. Well, then he come in and he was like, hey, Dad, would you hire me up there at the mine? And I said, well, you got to talk to Lindsay too. And Lindsay's like, so I looked at Reed and I said, I'll tell you what, buddy, $20 a day. And if you do good, you get a bonus. I'm going to tell you right now, I wish I had 12 of him. I mean, that kid, he did a stupid mistake. I mean, he's learning. And what it was is we had the side-by-side up there. So I'm getting out samples. And I said, hey, buddy, there's a big tote on the ground by the driver's side. Clean out the tools, put it in the back of the side-by-side, start grabbing these buckets and filling that tote up.
Right.
So Lindsay, he's, we're following MSHA law. So he's outside, even though they're not really going to like a 12-year-old up there. But anyway, so Lindsay's out there, making sure the generators and all that's working just fine. And Reed comes out, pours the first bucket in, and he goes, does your dad want you to do it? Oh, yeah, that's what he said. Well, anyways, make a long story short, I come out, turn the corner, and I'm like, what the fuck? There's a half a ton of ore sitting there on the ground. So Reed comes out with the other buckets, and I just, like I would any other employee, what the hell are you thinking? Blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Yeah, Dad, I thought it was kind of funny. I thought you said leave it on the ground. And I was thinking, well, that's going to be too heavy to pick up and put in the back of the side. So I'm like, get your ass over here. So I got a 72-year-old man, me, and a 12-year-old. We got it up in the back of the side-by-side. And, he looked at me and he goes, Dad, I got a couple more buckets I got to go get. I mean, it wasn't boo-hoo-hoo. My dad yelled at me.
He knew he had a task to get done regardless of the situation at hand, and he got it done.
And I'll tell you what, he come out and he come home and he's like, Mom, I really screwed up. I'm an idiot. And I looked down and I said, no, you're not. You're learning. And I said, you're going to screw up. Anyway, he told his mom, but he never got butthurt over that.
Right, and that's the thing, and that's the thing with such a task at hand with that type of task. It's not an everyday job. It's not a regular job that most kids nowadays would ever think of doing. So you take. I'm going to say this very kind-heartedly. You take the majority of kids nowadays and try to put them in that situation, and you really think that kid is going to go back and grab the rest and bring it back out to get the job done?
No, he's going to sit down and cry.
Exactly. And so, your kid doing that, going back in and saying, Dad, this is what's going on. This is what I got to go and do. He going in there, grabbing it, bringing it back out. That's awesome, man. You like I said, it's hard to find that type of person, whether it's an adult or your own child, to be able to do what you guys do at the claims that you guys have. It's, so that's something to be proud of, man. That's something to be very, very freaking proud
I'm quoting on air. I mean, all my kids are that way. I'm like, yeah, I'm going up to the mine today. Can we come?
Right.
Like when we're up at the Placer claim, they're swimming, fishing, doing whatever, having fun. And it's awesome. And that's like I tell people, like people that are going out prospecting. All right. Don't go out there thinking you're going to find a big ass nugget to put around your neck. Go out there and enjoy it. Have fun. Yeah. Prospect, or it's actually technically not prospecting. The minute you sell it, you are a miner. Like that show on Discovery or Weather Channel or whatever, prospectors and they're gem hunters. They're miners. They're miners. So that word to me kind of, being a miner. But,
that's always a tough topic to talk about, because it's just like anything in the community. You always got this side and you always got this side of the situation with prospecting and mining. I've gotten to the point, not only with the Prospecting Buddy family, but everybody else in the community. I've gotten to the point where, you know what, you want to call it this, you're more than welcome to. You want to call it this, you're more than welcome to. Because at the end of the day, they're out there. They're doing these things. There's one saying that we have all the time that we say in Prospecting Buddy, and that's, you're out there camping and enjoying your family. Gold's just the bonus. Gold's just the bonus.
And I want people to listen, because that's what I always say on my video. Go out there, have fun. Don't be thinking you're going to make millions, because we all know how gold is. Gold lands where it wants to. And where you're placer mining, you have a harder time knowing where that gold is. When we're hard rocking, we core drill, so we can see it, or believe it or not, we use our nose, our ears. You can hear all that stuff. And, that's like this piece right here for all the guys.
Nice and slow left and right. Come on. You got to give a good detail. Let everybody see that bad boy.
I'm having a hard
time left to right. Look at that, guys. Look at that.
It's loaded with gold.
Wow.
This right here don't mean nothing to me. Believe it or not, it literally doesn't. I mean, people see that gold and their eyes bulges out, like this little nugget here. All right. The only reason why I carry this nugget is there's a reason why. And it's a good memory. And that's
sentimental value. There's sentimental value to it. And that's what means the most. Yep.
And the thing is when you guys are out there, just, like me, I talk to a lot of animals. I got a moose that lives up at my mine. Her name's Susan. I actually hugged her mom, Maggie. I knew Maggie ever since she was a calf. And trust me, I've been close to death by moose before. But she was around me Maggie was around me ever since she was a calf. And it breaks my heart. A lot of times I get choked up. I went up there one day and I looked over and she was laying there. And I started talking to her because I know how moose are in the wild animals. And she just sat there and looked at me. Her ears were drooped, and I got closer and closer, the whole time ready to jump and run. And I could just tell by her eyes. And I actually started patting her, and I wrapped my arms around her neck and talked to her for quite a while. Next day I went up there. She had gotten up and moved off and passed away somewhere else. But her calf, Susan, I mean, I can walk up there, I holler for her. I mean, she's not going to walk right up to you and go, hey, how are you doing?
Right. You're going to see her, though, pop her head out.
But that's the thing. I mean, you've seen it, pack rats. Pack rats, trust me, they cost me more money each year. And that's one thing that when I'm watching a lot of these videos, guys are killing pack rats. Don't do it.
Right.
one, pack rats can tell if there's bad air. They can tell you if there's ground movement.
Right.
Like I tell my kids, you see those pack rats running, you better be right behind them.
Right.
And that's why the old boys, they said it was bad juju to kill a rat, because they would notice these, like the Bunker Hill mine there in Kellogg. They'd notice these rats running out, and they'd be right behind them, and guess what? Ground fall. And so they
knew something was coming. Yeah.
Yep. And because, see, they in the Bunker Hill, they brought in all sorts of cats to kill the rats. Well, then they're like, wait a minute here. These rats are protecting us. So, but that's the thing when you guys are out there prospecting, mining, whatever. Enjoy it, because guess what? It don't matter how much you got of this. This just puts money in your pocket. All right? It doesn't put the memories that your kids and everybody, or even you'll have for the rest of your life. I can tell you millions of stories out prospecting.
Right. Yep. Well, with that being said, let's go ahead and take a quick 5-minute break. Let's go ahead and grab something to drink. Let's go ahead and hit the restroom real quick, and then we'll jump back. I got an insane amount of stuff here.
Ask away.
To bring straight to you, big dog. So let's go.
I'm going to go get my phone charger. The reason why I'm not in the house, I'm in there, and my office gets shitty freaking Wi-Fi. So
hey, you're killing it. You're killing it. You're killing
I'm
it.
out here enjoying the sun, blinding my ass. I'll see you guys in 5 minutes.
You got it. Sounds good, brother. What's going on, everybody? We are back on the Digging Deeper podcast. If you guys are just tuning in, we got Mr. Robert from Snapshot Mining and Milling sitting over there in the Libby. We got James. What's going on?
Nothing, man. Just having a great night.
I just want to say
Yes.
one thing real quick, Lo. I'm kind of jealous
What's up, brother?
of you two.
What?
I keep on burning the crap out of mine, damn it.
Hey, if you look at my ends, I've been trying smelting. I've been trying the smelting process. It's funny you bring that up because this here is the first piece that I've actually made. And I drilled a little hole. Let's see here. Oh man, I'm so bad at this. Drilled a little hole out to put it on my necklace.
I should have brought out one of the big gold ingots.
Man, I'm telling you. But no, dude, I've just recently, like I'd say about 3 months ago, started the whole smelting process, trying to figure that all out. And yeah, you can't see it from here, but if you look real close, it's burnt to shit. All the edges are burnt to shit because I'm sitting there trying to smelt the damn shit with a MAP gas torch, trying to do it economically, I guess what they say. Yeah, so yeah. No, I'm right there. Same with you, brother. Same with you, man. I got burnt ends.
I got to tell you guys something funny real quick, okay? I got the barbecuer from hell. And talking about smelting, my regulator and all that screwed up on my barbecuer. So, Robert, being a fucking miner, we're always... So I went over to one of my furnaces. Oh, yeah, you want it charred broiled 2.3 milliseconds. Oh, yeah. And if you like it like me, you got to turn it way down. But, yeah, it'll always throw like a 5-foot flame out of that sucker.
So check this out. So my old lady, I hadn't had a grill. I'd say it's been about 2 years now. And she ended up getting me a grill for my birthday. And I'm used to cooking on littler grills, the barbecue grills, the little tiny guys, And she said, the hell with it. I'm going to get you a nice, big, fat one you can sit on the back porch. So I'm like, oh, shit, yeah, So, little behold, same exact thing. I go and get myself the biggest steaks I can possibly freaking get, slap them bad boys down on there. But before I slapped it down on there, I'm like, well, shit, it's propane. You press a button and you let her do her thing, right? So I crank all 3 of the damn knobs as high as they go. And sure as shit, I press that button and it just whoosh. And I'm like, oh, shit, I'm freaking out. My shit's all burnt, the hairs on my arm is all burnt and shit. And, yeah, I learned my lesson really quick in about the same milliseconds you did.
I should just have a camera following me around 24/7.
Right.
I would be the perfect OSHA candidate of what not to do.
Amen to that shit. Jeez Louise. So talking about safety hazards, what are some of the safety hazards that you've came across from when you first started all the way to where you're at now?
Oh, God, I could write a book.
I'm sure there's probably quite a bit.
One of the biggest safety hazards. Now, I'm going to talk about abandoned mines real quick.
Yeah.
When people are out and they're in a well-known mine area, watch out for old shafts and all that. Uh-oh.
I was going to say, uh-oh.
Who just came in here? I
might get violated. Real quick. Hey, Shannon, I don't want to sound gay or nothing, but you got a really nice ass.
Oh, here we go. It's happening on Digging Deeper. Prospecting Buddies digging deeper. It's happening. Hold on. I got one right here.
Hey, I'm not gay, but $20 is $20.
Oh, you know what? Hey, like we always say underground, if there's no video evidence, it never happened.
Oh, damn. Holy hell.
But real quick, getting back to your question,
yeah.
When people are around abandoned mines, look out for shafts. I mean, That, I mean, and you know, yeah, ask me, and like I said, I'm always going up to the old mines, especially here around Libby, Montana, because they're not even close to being played out. And so if you ever see a hole, you know, any kind of indentation in the ground in that, don't walk on it, okay? Unless you know for sure that is not a shaft collapsed in at the collar or plugged or anything, because a lot of people each year, you know, they get hurt around old mines. And you got hangers, okay? Hangers get us all the time working underground. That's why we have scaling bars. We go along and we, you know, we thump on the rock, and where it's just like a wall, where there's a stud, you can hear it. It's solid.
Right.
But where there's no stud, it's a hollow sound. So you got to watch out for hangers. I mean, that's the biggest thing underground is hangers. And then, like, when we go in and we start doing drilling around these old mines, usually a lot of the old boys, they never left unexploded dynamite. Usually, you know, especially in a hole. I mean, you'll find some laying around, you know, where it's by some cribbing or something, because they're going to use that and then spaced it out. But you know, drilling next to a loaded hole is not fun, because you don't know. Dynamite, some dynamite, depending on the conditions, will deplete. So you can go over there and grab it, move it. You know, if it's, and don't do it. Anybody, don't grab dynamite if you see it laying there. But if it has the right conditions, it will deplete. It'll become stable. But you always have to watch out, because you don't know if you're walking along and all of a sudden there's enough material over that dynamite, when you step on it, boom.
Right.
You know, but mainly, you know, when you're working underground, we have lots of hazards. We're constantly using our nose, our ears, everything. I mean, your senses. Now, like a lot of people, they knock Tommy knockers. All right. Oh, that's just a myth and that. You've seen my videos. I do have them, and I'm not making this shit up, but it could be a Tommy knocker is just because your senses are so aware of everything going on that it may be a figment of your imagination. It could be real. But
go ahead and explain what a Tommy knocker is for all the viewers that we got right here.
Really?
Most of us
there's lots of different things about what people actually call a Tommy knocker. There's a belief that it's old Jewish. When the Romans took a bunch of the Jews over, made them into slaves to mine, and those are the souls that never left underground. That's a Tommy knocker. The Chinese, when they were brought here to America,
Right.
in very poor conditions, they were forced into slavery underground in a lot of mines.
Right.
And so they had a belief if they died, their bones had to be shipped back to China. And if they didn't, their soul would always roam the earth. So we don't know if it's some mythical thing or if it's the souls from old miners. Now,
could be like a paranormal thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever seen the video. I'm going to tell you guys about getting spooked. I'll probably get goosebumps. I was not supposed to be by myself, but I went up there. I usually do not go in the mine by myself, period. Anyways, it's my mine. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to get some samples. Well, I was sitting there picking up the silver vein that I ended up with. You know, the old boys mined right by it. Didn't even know it was there. Well, I just happened to look over it. You know, over 100 years of it not being mined, there's indications of a mineral deposit. So I started picking away, and big chunks of silver started falling out. Well, when I went back up there, I'm like, I'll just go up there by myself, and I'm going to just get some samples. I'm going to set off around so people, you know, I'll put my GoPros up and that so people could see what it's like underground, you know. Well, there's one way in and one way out, okay? There's no exit to this mine. And so I unlocked the gate. I went in there, and I started doing a video about how the old boys missed it. Well, I seen this black like figure. It's hard to explain. My light wouldn't go through it, but it went around it. And it was kind of going back and forth, back and forth. Well, I'm just okay. It's in my head, but I'm just going to talk to it anyway. So I was. Well, then I turned around, I cut the camera off, and then I figured, okay, after I got done videoing, all right. Well, I had my 45, my 1911 that I pack all the time. And I'm sitting there and I'm working. And all of a sudden, I hear two voices talking back and forth. Well, that gun was drawn. I'm like, get the hell out. You're trespassing, blah, blah, blah. Well, then it dawned on me, I'm the only one with the key for the gate. And so then my skin started crawling because I could hear these two voices talking back and forth. I couldn't make out what they were saying. And so then I turned back on the camera. Ron Shaw from Shaw's Prospecting, he takes care of my YouTube channel and all that. Well, because when I was explaining about the way the vein, I thought it ran and everything, he got rid of all the background noise, and it literally said, it goes that way. It goes that way. Keep going that way, which freaked me the freak out.
Holy shit.
But anyway, so I go to turn on my phone after, I when they were talking back and forth, that's when I was filming. I was holding my breath. And then I turned it off. Well, then I got the round set and everything. And I went to turn on my GoPro. My GoPro wouldn't work. So I'm like, okay, I'll just light the fuse. I'll have it, where I'm running out with my phone going.
Right.
Went to turn on my phone, nothing. So I'm like, shit, the fuse lit. I got 15 minutes to get the hell out. So I go running.
Right.
I threw everything in the bag, put my phone in my pocket. I took out running. I get out at the porthole there. And I'm like, okay, well, I might as well lock up the gate. I've still got a few minutes. So I locked up the gate, and I'm sitting there. 15 minutes goes by. And I'm like, what the hell? So I'm like, oh, shit, mischarge. I got to deal with that tomorrow when I come up. Well, I grabbed the GoPro. Boom, it turned right on. I grabbed my phone, it powered right on. So I'm like, what the hell? So I put the GoPro in that way, kind of bummed out.
Holy shit.
Just got the second lock on the gate. Boom! And it was like, holy shit, it's about 25 minutes later. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Holy shit.
And he's a really good friend of mine, Hank. He's working for us too. He's not into that kind of shit. Well, I wish I'd have had it on video the day he tried to crawl the wall, because he turned around and there was a white figure right there. And I mean, he was sitting there just freaking out. I'm like, it's just a Tommy knocker, but
holy shit.
Getting back to it, no one really knows actually what a Tommy knocker is. Wow. And I believe in them. Oh, yeah. When I was working at the Yellow Jacket mine, before I ever knew what a Tommy knocker was, I was sitting there on my jack leg, and old John, not John Lawrence, a different John, that was my mine partner, he pushed the ore carts, one of the ore carts out. And anyway, so I was sitting there drilling, and all of a sudden it felt like somebody put their hand on me and said, get out. And I just turned around. Well, I'm thinking, okay, it's all in my head. I'm sitting there drilling. And then I could hear it, over the jack leg, get out. Well,
that loud.
Boom, I got out. Well, I come around the corner, and I'm like, dude, don't be fucking with me. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I said, somebody grabbed me and told me to get out. He goes, let's go. Well, we waited a little bit, went back in there, and a big slab came down and took the jack leg out, bent it all to hell. And he told me, he says, if you hear 3 knocks, if you hear any somebody telling you to get the hell out, that's the Tommy knockers. I'm like, what the hell is a Tommy knocker? He goes, no one knows.
Let me tell you a story, buddy. So,
holy shit.
I got a good Tommy knocker story, because I didn't believe in that shit until about 2 years ago at all. My wife watches those ghost shows on TV, and I actually laugh at it because So we had a big fire here in our backyard and burned off, I don't know, 100,000 acres, whatever. Well, it cleared the whole mountainside. And one of my best friends and this is about 2 miles from my shop. Anyway, he goes up over the hill and he looks down. He's like, what the fuck? It looks like a tailing pile down there. So he hikes down through there, no roads, no trails, no nothing. And here's all this old equipment, really old, like 1870s kind of stuff, right outside of a portal in a giant freaking tailing pile that I had no idea was there. And I've been up here for 20 years.
Right.
And never even heard of this mine. It's on no maps, no nothing. Well, anyway, so he lets me know. We go back in and we take actually a couple of our staff. We took 2 of the girls, took my wife and the cameras, and we were just going to go explore it. Well, we go into the shaft and it goes in for over half a mile, dead ends underneath the mountain. And I mean, thousands of feet underneath the mountain. And it was almost waist deep in muck, but you could feel under your feet in the mud and everything else that there was tracks. So anyway, we're walking in there, and I'm with one of our Amherst staff members and his wife, Kathy, and then we've got 2 other of our staff members that are back probably 400 yards back down the shaft. We can't even hear them, see them, nothing. It's pitch dark.
Wow.
And anyway, we've got headlamps on, and we're running the camera, and we get to this one spot in the shaft, and I mean, this thing has been abandoned for probably 100 freaking years. I mean, nobody's been in there. And anyway, we get to this spot in the shaft where it's just a wall of mist. And I mean, a wall of mist, like you could put your head through it and see clearly and bring it back. And it was just like a sheet of freaking mist.
Holy shit.
And it was really weird. It made me have a really weird sensation, like somebody's fucking watching you or gonna, And,
Right.
so here's the thing. So we're filming, and I'm not gonna exaggerate. We actually have a video of this from the shaft where it dead ends up there and it's all collapsed in and everything. And, it's fucking like I say, waist deep. We wore waders. We start hearing an ore cart coming down the shaft, and it's getting louder and louder and louder.
Holy shit.
And you heard it, actually, the sound go right between us. Joe's freaking out. Kathy's freaking out. I'm freaking the fuck out.
Holy.
This makes no sense. And the thing goes by us. You actually felt the freaking wind from it. And it goes down the shaft.
Shit.
There's nothing there, man. What the
Holy
fuck?
shit.
So it goes down the shaft and it goes out. And we could hear it. And actually, the camera picked it up. But we actually did pick up a couple of voices. And we call that the ghost mine, by the way, now. And we don't let anybody know where it is because it's really a dangerous mine. The air in there is bad. But fuck, dude.
If I ever get down there, you better take me into that damn thing.
Me too. Me too, Shannon.
I'll take you guys there.
Me too. Hell yeah.
Drink root beer. You guys can go in. Screw that.
Otherwise, if you don't let me in there, I might dry hump your leg until you do.
Yeah, well. So what else?
$20 is $20.
I don't know, man. I think that what's really interesting is we went back in because a lot of people wanted us to go back in and film another thing on that. All we were going to do is actually go in and film, hey, we're exploring a mine. We're checking out to see if there's a mineral deposit. We had no idea it was going to turn into a freaking ghost adventure.
Wow.
So anyway, we went back in about 6 months later with kind of the same crew. And my wife actually walked in. This time we were going to set up the cameras. So she walked in with Dawn, probably 300 or 400 yards down the shaft, found a little ledge inside the mine and set the camera there before we walked in so we could get the shot of us walking up. It's kind of standard videography kind of stuff.
Right.
She sets the camera down and, she's like, okay, hey guys, we're here and everything, just wanted to say hello. And anyway, and you hear this little kind of subtle, scratchy voice go, miner. And it said miner. It sounded like it to me.
Dude, that just gave me chills. Holy shit.
Oh, no, it gets worse, man.
Holy shit.
We went in probably another quarter of a mile. You see us walk past the cameras. Really nothing happened and everything. And then I heard something, and we stopped. And, dude, I swear to God, it was the devil growling. And that was it. Fuck it. I'm out. I'm done.
You heard full-blown growling.
Oh, yeah. It was a freaking gutter.
I got
Woo, that's giving me chills right now. Holy shit, dude.
When Ron Shaw, like I said, Shaw's prospected.
Wow.
When he got rid of the noise in that, I don't know if you guys seen that video, but you could hear the, just a freaking eerie freaking sound, and a lot of people go, well, do you still go in that mine? Well, that's the one right now you guys are seeing a lot. I go in there all the time. Now I leave cigarettes and, offerings.
That's the
Right.
thing is, I had a buddy of mine. He was an old time miner. He passed away, but he told me that when I was load mining, he's like, if you encounter these Tommy knockers and you encounter that stuff, and I kind of blew him off as bullshit, but he was right. He's like, dude, leave them a freaking bottle of whiskey and put a pack of cigarettes down, and they'll protect you. And that's what happened to you. It sounds like.
Yep.
Wow.
So yeah, when we went and filmed the second one, man, I took a freaking pack of cigarettes. Apparently, doesn't smoke Marlboros.
Well, I tried to quit smoking. I used to smoke Lucky Strikes. What's the nastiest cigarette? Menthols. Well, I'm freaking hooked on them now.
I was just gonna say that's the same damn thing. I went to the damn e-cig store. I went to the e-cig store.
Punched in the nose right now, but I know you guys live in states where there's a lot of I'm really cool, I'm
Right.
gonna smoke go to Starbucks and smoke my freaking e-cigarette.
No, that's the funny thing is that's the same thing. So I told myself, my old lady's been bothering the hell out of me saying, you know what, you need to cut down, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll go to the e-cig store. I'll buy a flavor that I absolutely hate. I'll start winging myself off. So, I was like, why not? Let me grab menthol. Now I'm hooked on menthol. Now I'm hooked on the shit.
It got me to quit smoking. And you know what? I had such an incredible amount of energy and everything because there's so many chemicals and really bad crap in cigarettes.
Right.
So I actually have armpit flavor. I don't like it, but it works.
Yeah. By the way, if you guys seen that one post last night, that was my wife that hacked me. Okay,
dude, that was freaking hilarious, dude. I was rolling so hard. I'm sitting there watching some damn Marvel movie that my kids have on, and I'm just rolling, dude. I'm rolling, and my old lady's like, "What the hell is so funny that I have to pause this movie for?" And I'm like, "You got to see this, babe. This is hilarious." And she was fucking laughing so hard. That shit was funny as hell.
Real quick, did you guys see how I got her back? I stole her phone without knowing that, but I love rubbing peanut butter all over my body and letting the dog lick it off. It makes me so wet.
That's wrong.
That's one thing I gotta say. I have one of the best wives. I mean, people are like Shannon about the kitty cat. Huh? Yeah.
Uh-oh.
My comment towards you.
Uh-oh.
Actually helped me do that one.
I knew and you guys know I love to play with little pranks on Facebook all the time. I'm the master. And that's why everybody comes and attacks me. You guys mostly suck at it. I'm expert. See, I go through and I go, if you don't want to see my freaking internet search history, dude, it's pretty good. Not that, but no, I'll see something like that. And sometimes I look at a picture of a guy licking a fucking cat and I go, that's Robert right there, man. You go to Facebook, put it up there. But it's what makes it work so well is you've got to narrate the picture. You've got to set it to where when you read it, they go, spit their coffee all over the place.
What was my comment?
I don't remember.
I like licking pussy. It don't matter what it is, hairy, bald, or half.
Oh, $20 is $20.
You're talking to a full-blown miner. Like I tell people.
Oh,
if
shit.
a sailor comes by, we will make them blush. Okay?
Oh, man.
So you guys have got to come down. I'm serious, bro. And you need to come down, Robert.
I've been trying and trying. Right now, Dave Emsley wants as much as we can get of this stuff. We're trying to do our mill, get our little mill up and running, which, they say procrastination's like masturbation. You're only fucking yourself at it. Well, I'm a professional. Okay. Anyway.
Right on the money with that. Right on the fucking money with that, man. I tell you what.
It would be fun, though, if we could get you guys down here, for probably 3 or 4 days. I mean, I'll open your eyes up to some really amazing stuff. We've got so many mines up here. Most of them are unclaimed, and we never disclose anything. We don't talk about them, and we don't claim them because nobody else knows where they are, and there's no sense in claiming them. Nobody else knows where they are.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, there's no sense in giving the government additional money, but
right, Robert.
Yeah.
Robert, that's on the agenda for next summer. So me and Shannon have been talking about me planning a trip out there. That's on the agenda for next summer. So put that down on your calendar. Put it in your cell phone. Let's make a freaking trip, man. Let's get out there and have some damn fun, dude.
I don't know if you guys can handle me.
Oh, come on. I've just witnessed 5 minutes of you, and I can already tell that I love the shit out of both of you. So I think I can handle you guys.
I'll embarrass the crap out of you.
Do you not know I'm a ginger? I get embarrassed just walking around, so I don't mind. Exactly. So
I'm proud of my Scottish, Norwegian, and Irish and German heritage.
That's right. Let me try to pull mine down now that you're doing it because you're making me jealous. Mine's not that long. I can tilt my.
So what's some more questions you got for me?
Anyway,
all right.
I got to bail. I got to pour this table. You guys know that. It's Lisa's table. I've been month and a half, and her birthday is in 2 days, so I got to get this thing done tonight.
All right, brother, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you jumping on.
Shannon's like, what the hell? That's a whip?
Oh, fuck off, dude. Hey, man, I'm like you. I got the best woman, and she supports everything I do, and you know what?
All that matters.
I would take
don't give a crap about being whipped.
We just talked about that on the last podcast, Shannon. You know, we just talked about that specific topic. If you got a good woman who supports exactly what you do, loves you for who you are, and allows you to go out and do what we do, that's gold, man. You can't find anybody better than that.
She's got a lot of gold jewelry, though, I can tell you that.
I don't doubt it one bit. She probably has some gold shoelaces too, right, Shannon?
No, actually, the best gift that I ever gave her was I took her out on one of my best claims, called Puppy Cookie, by the way, killer name. But anyway, I took her out to this, and we ran a hide maker, found a crack that we pulled, I don't know, probably 3 ounces of really big chunky stuff. And I mean, probably 20 of the pieces in there, maybe 15 of the pieces were 1/4 ounce size nuggets. And we found them together. And so I took those nuggets and I made her a bracelet. And some of the nuggets were kind of shaped like a heart or a dog's head. And so I made her this bracelet with a gold chain. So if you look at it from a distance, it looks like a charm bracelet. You get up close to it and you're like, holy shit, Batman, that's got like 2.5 ounces of freaking nuggets on it. But anyway,
awesome.
I got to bail, guys. Hey, thanks for having me tonight, and love you, brother.
Hey,
love you, brother.
We love you.
We'll talk to you guys soon, man. I need to tell you, Jaron, the next time about this episode with this claim jumper last week. That's the closest I've came in the last couple of years to getting into a real serious physical confrontation. So.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, and then in the next few weeks, Shannon, I'm looking at about 3 weeks out right now. I'd love to get you back on another episode. So if you have time,
it's not like we don't fucking talk all the time. All of
I know, right? right.
All right, guys.
Hey,
later.
Shannon.
See you, James.
Bye,
See you
Shannon.
guys.
See you, brother.
We'll see you later, brother. All right, what's your next question?
All right, so to more of a serious matter from a hell of a fun-ass time matter. We've been seeing the videos about the fires going on. We've been seeing, some of the shit that you've been watching very closely online, the different websites, the statistics, how they're managing the forest fires compared to how they used to manage the forest fires. I kind of wanted to get a little bit into detail on that whole situation. Specifically, first and foremost, are any of the fires around you or near you or close by you, quote unquote, somewhat contained or contained to a point where folks around you have comfortability, or do you want to go ahead and jump on that real quick for us and kind of let us know what's going on over there?
I will. We got the in Sanders County, which is just, well, matter of fact, right where I grew up at. Matter of fact, the fire is only 4.5 miles from where I lived on Blue Slide Road.
Wow.
It's not even contained. And then we have the Burnt Fire. It started on Burnt Mountain. They only got that like 40% contained. And then we have the Yak Fire. You guys watch The Mountain Man, Tom Orwood's up there. And the Yak Fire, both fires are only 18 miles away from us. The other one's like 30-some miles. Matter of fact, I'm looking right over there right now at the big plume of smoke. That's what I've been constantly looking over. The forest is very mismanaged. And like I said on videos before, it is the Forest Service's fault, and it isn't. These obstructionist tree huggers, they're constantly suing the Forest Service to stop logging. Like here, well, you guys are aware of it, here in Montana, it's constantly about the freaking grizzly bears. Now, when I say it's the freaking grizzly bears, I think they're one of my favorite animals. I'm always up in grizzly bear habitat. I mean, I grew up in grizzly bear habitat, so I know bears. I mean, I'm more comfortable around bears, well, any kind of wild animal except for the wolves. And that's a long story there. And real quick with the wolves, they brought these Canadian timber wolves in when we already had American timber wolves here. The wolves are real aggressive. The Canadian timber wolf, they pretty much killed all of our American timber wolves off here. They're real aggressive, territorial. But anyways, getting back to it, these obstructionists are always suing over the grizzly bear. That's their pawn. They're always using that. And you've seen where I posted about the grizzly bear cub getting rescued from, the forest fire, the other bear getting burned up. They sit there and they sue. Well, first they get federal grants, these tree hugger associations, they get grants, and then they take that grant money and they sue us. We the people, because we the people are the government. It's not the politicians, it's we the people. And so they sue over the grizzly bear, but they allow the grizzly bear's habitat to burn up.
And not be maintained whatsoever for them to.
Now, like these fires, if you ever look, 2015, just to give you guys an idea, in 2015, that historical stamp mill I was telling you about. I had a complete 5-stamper. It was put in 1905. When the 1910 fire came through, they saved it. In 2015, the Forest Service, now I'm going to get real negative about the Forest Service. The Forest Service neglected to save that stamp mill. The head firefighter named Bo, when I went up there, they stopped. Well, I actually seen 2 trucks, a BLM truck and a Forest Service truck, and I pulled up and I said, hey, I got mines up here. That fire's burning right towards my mine. The Forest Service neglected to tell him, and by law, they're supposed to tell him if there's any active mining claims in that area. They neglected to tell him.
Anything going on in that area whatsoever.
They're supposed to let him know. And I said, hey, look, I have active mining claims that we're working up here. He goes, there's no active mining claims. I said, hold on. I walked over, and I'm an asshole. I'll admit that. I am. You rub me wrong, you're going to hear about it.
You're going to get it.
Holding up the back. Anyway, so I grabbed my briefcase, slammed it on his head, whipped it open, and started showing him all my blue papers, all my MMC numbers and everything. And then I said, oh, and by here, and excuse my English, but I said, by the way, asshole, here's the historical stamp mill up there. He goes, historical stamp mill? And I said, yeah, here's my plan of operation. Here's from the Forest Service. Is there going to be any disruption to the historical stamp mill? That's when he told me. He goes, Robert, they're supposed to tell me if there's any active mining going on or any active mining claims or any historical sites. Well, they couldn't stop me from being up there. So I said, well, can I go up there and pull what I can and put it underground? Yep, I can't stop you. So I went up there. At first, he was like, hey, I need to send you in with somebody because, being a forest fire, and you're not knowing how forest fires act. I said, well, that's kind of funny. I was a hot shot, blah, 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 blah. dawned on him. Him and I were on a lot of the same fires together. And he said, you know what, Mr. Viergutz, go up there. And so I went up there and I pulled what I could. I turned around, grabbed my camera, and I took a couple pictures of the stamp mill because I knew that was the last time I was going to see it. They literally let it burn down. Up about a half a mile up, there was an old Forest Service wall tent pad built in 1947. They were dumping buckets of water on it to save it. But wouldn't save a historical, a high significant, historical valued piece that we were trying to get down to the museum. They allowed it to burn. But that's the thing.
They didn't give a shit about the whole situation at hand, and that's why he wasn't informed.
Yeah. And isn't there an Antiquities Act? They're supposed to preserve this stuff. They're not. They're destroying it. They log over it. They rip it up. They don't give 2 cents about it.
Yeah, there's multiple responsibilities.
Is when this fire started, and I found out about it, I walked up there, me and a couple of my guys. I'm looking at this thing barely smoldering. So we get back down. We jump in the truck. We go down to the SO office there. And I said, look, I'll get 6 of my guys. We'll have that fire completely 100% contained in maybe 4 or 6 hours top. Won't cost you guys a dime.
Just get it done.
This is no shit, guys. This is exactly what they told me. They said, if you go up there and touch that fire, we will throw your ass in jail.
Yep.
And they allowed that fire to get completely out of control. Now, when I was fighting fires, I was always told, I'm like, hey, this fire's burning here. Put me on it. Nope, you care. You're going to Colorado or you're going here because I care. And I wanted to put it out. And that's like this thorn fire. I grew up 4.5 miles to the west of it on the freaking road. My trap line was up there. I used to hike up there, fish the creeks, the lakes up there. I know that area like the back of my hand. I know where all the closed roads are that are growed in. Right. And I told them, and you've probably seen it, I posted it on Unlock Our Woods. We actually have a group, Unlock Our Woods, to start getting people to join forces and saying enough's enough. Right. Anyways, I had gotten on the Lolo National Forest and said, look, give me 20 guys, give me all the equipment I can get. Here's this road. It goes to Cabinet Lake, the upper side of Cabinet Lake. We can put in a 40-foot wide fire line, and then we can come up North Fork. There's a road that comes in at the bottom of Cabinet right to it. We'll open that all up. That fire will stop right there.
Yep.
No answer. They deleted all the comments that I did. I did screenshots. Well, I actually got on Google Earth and showed them where the roads were.
Right.
And so the problem is it's not just the Forest Service at fault. If they can't log it, then let it burn. Well, they've learned if they let it burn, they get a bigger paycheck.
Oh, yeah.
The forest is not being maintained. It is not. A fire. We have spots. You guys do over there, and you've been to Idaho. I know you guys been to Murray and all that. You still see trees that are still standing from the 1910 fire. You see hillsides, mountainsides that are bare, just have grass. That's because when a fire gets too hot, it burns the nutrients in the ground.
Right.
And it takes hundreds of years for that to rejuvenate to grow trees.
To regrow the forest.
Wolf Creek. Yeah. And that's the biggest problem. These fires are getting out of control because they sit there and if you guys ever notice and watch these fires when they first start, it's too steep a terrain. They're studying on what it burns. What burns in a forest fire? Trees, twigs, sticks, branches, grass. Yeah. So why are they studying what it's burning? They already know. Then the other thing they say is, what kind of habitat is it burning? Right. All right. We already know moose, bear, all that kind of stuff. So they'll sit there and watch it burn until it gets out of control. So they go from a stage 3 to a stage 2. And if it's like California, then they go to a stage 1.
Right.
They get paid for all that burned timber. They get paid for being over budget. And I'm going to do this right now. I've been on more forest fires where they've dug a hole and took brand new trash pumps that miners could use, prospectors, ranchers, whatever, and put them in that hole with chainsaws, Pulaski, shovels, tents, you name it, and bury it.
Right.
And say, oh, that was lost on the fire.
Right.
And instead of taking that and putting it to auction.
Right.
And so there's a lot going on about these fires. But have you guys ever noticed when it hits state land, state's always calling in every helicopter they can?
Oh, they're right on it. Yeah, they're right on it. Yeah.
Why is
Yeah.
not the United States Forest Service? Because the bigger the fire, the bigger the paycheck. I
Bigger
know
the money.
I fought fires for years.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
and so
Yep.
I get pissed because guess what? I look at the mountains. I'm in the mountains. I know what those things need. Our loggers, that is their crop. Just like a farmer in Iowa. He has corn.
Right.
He's
Right.
going to take care of his crop. So why not allow these loggers to go in like they did back in the day when a fire started? You had every logging company trying to put that damn fire out, would get
Right.
it put out.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want their crop destroyed. They don't want to go in and clear cut it. They don't want to disrupt the bear.
They don't have to
want hurt
waste.
the chipmunk.
Yeah. They don't have
You
to
know?
want to waste their own money, after the fact. So.
And I'm sorry I get a little riled up, guys, because I'm really passionate about it. I love
No,
our
yeah.
family. I mean, I'm always out there, and that's the other
People
thing.
people need to know about it first and foremost. Secondly, being able to get a voice out there for other people to be able to see this and actually share it is what needs to happen. We can sit here and try to do our own things separately, to try to get the voice out there to get things changed. But the only way that things are going to get changed is by getting it out there to a bigger, broader audience for everybody to be able to see and actually get a good factual basis, off of it so they can determine what needs to actually get done and start saying something about it.
And see, that's the biggest thing. My hats are off to these environmental groups for one reason. You take an ant, okay? And you look at that ant and you put that ant down. That ant can't really do anything. But you take that whole damn colony, and that colony can move the world.
They can move mountains, yeah.
And that's what these obstructionists do, is they all band together and they fight.
Yeah.
But I hear people all the time going, "Oh, I hurt inside to know about what those people are losing in California and all over the place over neglecting our national forest."
Yeah.
But these obstructionists, they band together and they fight like hell to stop the logging and all that kind of stuff and the mining and everything else. But we have people all the time going, boo hoo hoo. What can I do? Well, band together and start fighting.
Band together and do the same thing that those environmentalists are doing to somehow get some type of situation handled with the way that the forestry is being handled right now and being managed.
Well, and that's the other thing, kind of on the same subject. I want to stress this to the guys, and I should have brought out our big vial of mercury. When you guys are out there suction dredging, save every piece of lead you guys get. Save all the mercury you guys get and use that for evidence and going, this is what suction dredging does. On our suction dredge permit, when we do a cleanup and we pick up all that lead, we have a little scale and we weigh it. On our permit for that day, we write down how much lead we recovered, how much mercury we recovered. Because I read an article in the Mine Journal a couple years ago that the head of the EPA looks at suction dredging as the same as bucket line dredging. A bucket line takes the surface material and it runs it through the trommel, through the wash plant, through the sluices. It comes out right behind the bucket line dredge. The oversize goes up the stacker and gets dumped over the top. Suction dredging picks it up and deposits it back the way it came. Yeah, we're moving the big boulders out of our way now. But when you do it right, you move it behind. So that
you're cleaning the damn creek bed is what you're doing.
The creek bed, and look at how much millions each year us taxpayers pay each year for the Forest Service and the Fish and Game and that to bring in gravel and dump down for fish habitat. We're already doing that. We're doing it for free. They go in there with heavy equipment like the Kootenai River here.
Essentially, we're paying to do it. We're paying taxes to do it. We're not doing it for free. We're paying freaking taxes to do it.
We're not charging the taxpayers millions and millions of dollars to go in there with equipment. We're doing it and making fish habitat. We're making beds for spawning. I can't tell you how many times I've been on the suction dredge nozzle and the prairie winkles and all that stuff coming up, all the bugs. And I got big ass trout knocking my regulator out of my mouth and that. And I think, they're in there eating and and the frogs and all that. I mean, I got pictures of frogs sitting there right by the suction dredge because guess what? We're getting the food for them. We're making a better,
we're creating
all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So. Like I said, when you guys are out there suction dredging, I don't even care if it's sluicing or panning. Save all your lead. Take pictures of it. Put it all over social media. Show them what that we do for our environment. That's like one guy got on social media, literally had a video. He was a miner, had a video of him taking a shovel, picking up a Mojave rattlesnake, and moving it down the road and going, "Here you go, fella. Be on your merry way." Because guess what? He knows that snake keeps the mouse population and all that down. And,
there's a life cycle.
We care about our environment. And that's just like the loggers. They know that the squirrel will sit there and collect nuts and then forget where it's at. Now you got trees growing. He knows that the bear comes along, eats the huckleberries, and then shits out the seed. Now we got new huckleberry bushes, and those huckleberry bushes help the trees out. So
it's a cycle of life. Yep. 110%. Wholeheartedly agree. Wholeheartedly agree on that.
So what other questions you got?
Let's see here. So what I wanted to get at here is one specific question that I asked a lot of the guests. What would you specifically say would be your best cleanup to date? And I have to ask it. I've asked every single guest. It's one of those questions that I personally get asked. Hey, make sure you ask it. So I got to ask that real quick. One of the little questions so we can get that out of the way real quick.
Okay. Suction dredging or hard rock mining?
Either or. What would you say out of either or was your best cleanup for that one there? Okay. So
let me ask you. Are made of.
Let me ask you one last question now that you showed that. How much approximately would you think crushing it down and milling it would that be? Just a ballpark. Give me a ballpark, Robert. Give me a ballpark.
I'm going to tell you guys this right now, okay? Guesstimation. There's probably 6, maybe 8 ounces in this. Now, I'm going to try to get a better, see, there we go. See the crystal structure of that thing?
The crystalline,
So then on the back, all right, sorry. Okay, and then you can see that nice guy.
Yeah.
And then that nice guy. Now, I'm going to tell you guys this right now. Do not crush any quartz with visible gold in it.
No specimens.
You take this and say you crush it down. Now, I'm just going to throw a number out there. Don't go, you're full of shit, because I'm just going to throw a number out there, you guys.
Right.
And the reason why I'm going to throw a number out there, and it's going to be a really high number, is I want you guys, to know. Okay, so we already know there's, we're going to say 6 ounces, all right?
Yeah.
First of all, barely anybody ever gets market value for, their gold.
Yeah.
So, unless you know the refiner personally, you're not going to get a good price, because usually there's a middleman involved and stuff like that. So let's say you get $1,000 an ounce. You're looking at $6,000. Would you guys believe me? Say this might fetch $350,000. It may fetch that to a private collector.
Collector.
Because this is a rare piece because it's captured in the matrix. Now, you guys got to realize, all right, hold on here. You see this little nugget I carry around, all right? People will take that and they'll melt it down with their flour gold. Well, you just ruined the value. You just ruined the value because that being a jewelry piece is worth more money. So it's the same thing with rock. You know, you get your say quartz or whatever, and it has visible gold in it. That could be worth far more to a jeweler to slab it up, make pendants, earrings, whatever out of it.
Right.
And so you have to be really particular on what you crush. Now, when we're hard rocking, a lot of times we don't see shit like this. This is such a fluke that I mean, you're better off getting struck by lightning than finding winning the mega jackpot than you are that. Because most of the gold that we recover is this. All right. That is just pyrite. It looks good on the camera, but that's actually pyrite and all that. That little chunk right there weighs about 9 ounces. I mean, just in that little chunk, it's heavy. But the gold is so microscopic. And this is called refractory ore. This is unrefractory ore. And this is unrefractory ore, meaning it's free milling. This here being refractory, remember, are for refining. We have to add chemicals in that and crush this real fine to get the gold to float up. Then you still don't get all the free milling, because what we do first is we crush it up, we run it through and try to get the free milling out. Because free milling, you just smelt it down, boom, you pour it.
Yep. And
the sulfite gold in here, we have to add chemicals in that to get that out.
To get it out, to extract it, yeah.
Yep. So that's the thing, is it's real hard to say, how many ounces are in that, because I'm never going to crush it up.
Right.
I was thinking it would be way worth.
What was that?
More. When I was agreeing that it would be worth a lot more as is. Than to crush that specimen up.
That's what I can't stress enough to prospectors out there, or any hobbyist or anything. When I say that, I'm proud to say that. A lot of people go, "Well, you're a professional miner." When you say hobbyist, I started out as a hobbyist. And so I try to help everybody out. So always remember, anything you can pick up with your fingers, don't melt down, because some jeweler will buy that, and it's worth more money. And the bigger the nugget, the more it's worth. And it's the same when you guys find gold in any kind of rock. If you visibly can see it, don't crush it up. Okay.
Right.
Take it to an expert, show him, because he might wig out and go, "Holy shit! Well, you got a quarter of an ounce there, but I'll give you 15,000 because I can make 100,000 off."
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So my daughter just came in and asked for a cough drop. I'm like, yeah, go grab one, go. So for all the viewers there, I hope you heard that. I learned the hard way, like I always do with everything in my life.
That's how we learn the best way, the hard way.
But that's true, man. I mean, I saw a couple of different videos on YouTube where they were smelting stuff, and I really wanted to try it out. And okay, sweetheart, we'll go ask your sister one more time. Thank you. But I wanted to try it out. I saw a couple of YouTube videos, as anybody would, and I am a religious man myself, and grew up, religious and so on and so forth. But I wanted to try it out. It's the way I look at it is this: we have so many years in our life to be able to try so many different things. And, a lot of people, I ask, a couple of my buddies, even at work, I'm like, do you got a bucket list? Is there things on there where, you want to try out? And they're like, yeah, I don't really, have a bucket list, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, I do. And smelting is one of those things. Yeah, I probably won't make the best, I won't have the best first smelt, second smelt, third smelt. But I'll get to a point where, for instance, I'll get to a point where I make something like that, and I'm over the hills about it. I'm extremely over the hills. Will I do it again? Hell no, I won't do it again because I learned my lesson the first time. But I'm going to wear that damn thing proud because it's something that I was able to cross off my bucket list and say that I did.
Yep.
You know, so,
Yeah,
you know,
sure,
like you were right. And so like you were saying, Robert, you know, that's, yeah, don't ever smelt your specimens. I smelted 2 of mine. And for one, it was damn near impossible to get the quartz out of your damn dish, for one. Almost fucking impossible to get it out. And for 2, you think that you're going to smelt it only once or twice. You're probably going to end up doing it probably 4 or 5 times until you get something even remotely close looking to what you see on YouTube. So,
and well, see, and that's the other thing is talking about that, you know, talking about this refractory ore.
Right.
There's a process of roasting it to get the impure, you know, your sulfates and, you know, your sulfur and all that to burn off.
Cooking it off.
You know what? I'm still learning how to smelt. I'm going to tell you what, I have probably wasted over 300 gallons of propane, and I've had about 900 fuck-ups, but I still have to, you know, and it's because every ore deposit's different.
Right.
And so you got to treat it different. Every ore deposit is different. I got a funny one. I had a friend, hell of a guy, loved the guy to death. Politically, him and I were night and day difference, but I loved the guy to death. It didn't matter because that's who we are. We're Americans. We can have a different political side and still love each other.
Thank you.
Anyways, one day he goes,
to that.
You know what? Every time somebody brings me in a piece of local ore, you're like, oh, that came from this mine. That came from that mine. And I said, every ore deposit has its own thumbprint. And you know, and it's the same with gold deposits. Yeah. And so one day he took all this gold. Now you got to realize this guy had an astronomical amount of gold and silver. And he had all these gold nuggets with this piece of paper flipped over with the gold nugget sitting on there. And he's like, all right, well, where's that one from? And I went, well, that one's from Peru. This one's from here. This one's here. This is California. This is here. This is Australia. This is Alaska. Blah, 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 blah.
Right.
He flipped them over and couldn't believe I got 100% on that. And he was like, how in the hell did you know? It's because, okay, first of all, people look at placer gold and they think it's, so people, I'm going to say this too. So people selling gold out there, all right, don't get butthurt if your buyer goes, well, that's not pure gold, because it isn't. Okay, it has impurities in it. And so, like here in Libby, it's 88 to 98% pure in Libby Creek, believe it or not. But Alaska, it's only like 60, you know, to say 75%. And so that's what I was looking at, was the sheen of the gold, of knowing where it came from. Now, I also want to tell you guys this. I only learned this 2 years ago. Mal Peterson, you know, lets us work his claim, suction dredging and all that, right where, when we were talking about Libby, it's where Bear Creek comes into Libby. Right. He one day I had this piece of gold and it had a green sheen to it, you know, and I'm like, Mel, I know this is gold, but why is it green color? He goes, Robert, that traveled farther. And then I started, and I go, what do you mean by that? And he says, as it rolls down the creek, it tempers and it changes the color of it. And actually, I did a little test with some gold, and he was actually right. It started turning like a green tint to it with this little nugget. I was sitting there beating around and all that.
So, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so, but when you go to sell gold, depending on where you're at, you're actually not going to get, say, $1,800 an ounce for it because of the impurities in it. You know, like Alaskan gold has more iron in it. Yep. So, and that's the other thing is like, I know a lot about the show Gold Rush. I know some of the people that are stars on it. I won't mention their names and that. And so when people see their gold pans and you see that dark area on, you know, nuggets, and I'm going to show you this one, is to be very careful. Let's see if we can see that dark area in that nugget.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. And then when I flip it around, you'll see dark areas. Yep. That's because of the hematite hanging to it. And so you guys probably heard the old saying, gold rides an iron horse.
Yeah.
So a lot of those nuggets that you guys see on there that are black are actually gold nuggets with hematite around them.
Huh.
And so always remember that when you're going through your hematite.
Personally, I did not know that. I
Yep.
did not know that.
Yep.
That's that's crazy. Yeah, when I the first time I was messing around smelting and whatnot, I had a brief knowledge of the impurities, and obviously when you have your own bit of raw gold that you have found, you never really know the exact purity unless you go and get it tested. You go and test it yourself. You honestly do not know the amount of impurities you have in your gold.
Exactly.
And so by trying to smelt it by a certain amount of flux or a certain amount of this or that, you're basically going in blind, because you can't go off of any recipe if you don't have a specific knowledge of how much impurities you have in your gold. You could get a rough estimate, just like anybody could, and just like I did with my cross. And, I sat there and messed with it and messed with it and messed with it. I remelted it, like I said, probably 5 or 6 times. And, that burning question in the back of my mind was, where's my purity at? I'm doing all of this shit. I'm burning my eyebrows, burning my beard. I'm screwing around here. Let's figure out what my carat rating is. And so I finally ended up taking it in after smelting it about 6 times. And by some random way, whatever I was doing with the flux, whatever I was doing with the borax, I got up to 18K purity. And that blew me away. And
that's damn good.
And so I sat back and I said, well, for one, I screwed up messing around and smelting some of my nice quartz specimens that I had. 2, do I really want to go through burning the shit out of myself again? And 3, I made what I wanted to make, and there isn't really anything else that I was super itching to make. And so I left it at what it was, and went from there. You see a lot of guys on YouTube that's been smelting, damn near their whole life, and they know what they're doing. Yeah. So for anybody watching, if you do want to smelt, it's probably not a good idea. It's probably best to leave what you have in your vials for conversation pieces, for, if you have enough of it, obviously, a half ounce, whatever it may be, or more, hold on to it. It'll collect value, and it'll continue to collect value over the years.
Yep.
And that's just it. So I learned my lesson. Yeah. I learned my lesson. That's for damn sure.
And talking about vials and that, one day I came to a conclusion, and I actually felt really bad. I get people that show me vials, and they're like, oh, look at this 1/4 ounce vial, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. And I hand it back. And then afterwards, I'm like, that kind of sounded really pompous ass. I see more gold than most people see in a lifetime. I see all the time. But you know what? I said the same. I say the same thing to them. Put that away, because one, it's going to add value maybe, and it's a memory. Something that you had fun doing and all that kind of stuff. And the other thing is, I want to put in here is, on a lot of these groups, like you and I were saying earlier, on Facebook, if you guys ask questions on Facebook, be prepared for a negative answer from somebody that probably doesn't even know what they're talking about. Right. All right. I get on a lot of these groups, and I just want to start lambasting these assholes when somebody says, what is this? And they're like, well, that's just a leverite. Or that's an Indian sexstone. Fucking leave it right where it's at. Right. This stuff right here, it's a pyrite is what it is, but you can actually see the gold sheen to it now. Now, right up here, it's hard to see in the camera, but there's a silvery sheen to it. There's actually 2 types of pyrites, and I'm not going to go through the technical terms and all that. I'm just going to say pyrite. You will have pyrites that will have gold in it, or chalcochlorite, where it has copper in it. So when you guys do see this, what I can say is the best thing to do is find yourself not a proclaimed assayer. Oh, I'm a world-renowned assayer. Get an assayer that is certified. Okay?
Right.
Send it to them because you never know when you may have just found the mother lode. And it's right there. Now, like this mine here, it's literally from 300 ounces. I'm going off the history report, okay? And we've had all sorts of, different assays come back because the vein is never the same.
Nope.
From inch to inch.
It's always shifting. Yeah.
But what the old boy said is this is from a half ounce to 14.6 ounces per ton. Okay. Wow. We're running from 300 to 1,200 ounces per ton in silver. But what I want to show you guys is this one I keep on showing. And it's real hard. But you see all that pyrite right there? Okay, that's mixed in with silver now.
Yep.
It's running, documented by the American Analytical Service and other certified assaying companies, 9.78 ounces per ton, just in gold. Jeez. So when you guys are out there and you find something, and you show somebody and they're like, oh, well, that's just pyrite, just chuck it, don't. Send it to an assayer because you guys never know. You might stumble onto neodymium. You might stumble onto uridium, platinum. You don't know. I gave it to Dave Emsley, very good friend of mine. You guys probably know Dave Emsley or heard of him. He's on the Reclaim show. Dave is a hell of a guy. You see my pictures with me and him. I had a piece from the Stillwater mine of their high-grade platinum ore, and it looked just like pyrite because it's micro and in with the pyrite. So when you guys are out there prospecting, if you don't know what it is, find an assayer, send it to them, have it assayed. It's expensive, but you know what? It's well worth it. That's what we do. When we find something, we assay it because guess what? You don't know if you're passing up the mother lode. You might be able to find a mine. Yeah, it's unpatented. You get a claim on it and say, all of a sudden you're looking at 14 ounces of platinum per ton. You go to the Stillwater mine and say, hey, I got this mine. I've had 80 different assays on it.
Right.
You send your guys, and get the permitting, the core drill. They may go, hey, you know what? We're going to give you $50 million for it.
Right.
So don't ever get discouraged by asking a question, especially on Facebook.
Sure.
And with that topic, that's the thing, I can't put any names on any groups or anything like that whatsoever, but it's a matter of finding a group that you feel comfortable with. A group, I'm not, like I said, not going to name any names or anything like that. There's a lot of groups with a lot of positives and negatives, just like any other group is. But, it's just find a group that you feel comfortable with, that you can ask a question and not have to worry about repercussions, and
I started, Ron Shaw and I, we started a group, the Miners Corner. And then also I'm the admin of the Hard Rock Miners. If you guys want to, and I don't care if you guys don't or anything. I'm not trying to get people to join it or anything. But that's one thing I will not tolerate is if somebody goes, hey, what is this? And I'll just speak like Robert. Some asshole goes, well, it's just a leverite. Because any professional miner or prospector will tell you, go get it assayed because the picture doesn't no justice. And I have people all the time taking pictures, which I love. And they message me, hey, what is it? And I can go, well, it looks like this. But what I always say is, go get it assayed.
Go get it assayed. Yep.
And that's the thing. People can't learn when, they can't learn if they show this and somebody goes, oh, well, it's just a leverite.
Right.
I know you guys can't see it. Well, now you can, how dark gray it is and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
This thing is loaded. No shit. It weighs over 20 pounds, this little piece.
Yeah.
It's the thing is if somebody asks a question and all of a sudden somebody tells them, well, it's just a leverite, well, then they get discouraged, they throw it away, and guess what? Like I said, they may be on to something.
Passed up an opportunity. Yep. For all the folks that are watching, so for the Facebook group that you do have, the two of them that you said, what would they specifically put in the search bar for the first one, and specifically put in the search bar for the second one if they do want to go and join?
The Miners Corner is
So
the
Miners
first
Corner.
one. Yep, and then
and
Hard Rock Miner.
Okay.
Yep.
So my last question of the night is, so you did say earlier that you did have a YouTube channel, correct?
Yes, I do.
So for everybody watching that would love to jump on and watch your videos and gain the knowledge that you are, giving out, what is the YouTube channel specifically called for them to search for?
Same name as my mining company, Snapshot Mining and Milling. Yep.
Perfect.
And like I said, I'm on Facebook and all that. And you guys got questions, and Ron Shaw, like I said, I keep on saying his name because Ron Shaw works for me and does all my YouTube channel. And first of all, we don't edit shit. We don't make it look like a TV show.
Right.
So we do it. I don't have the greatest. I'm usually on my phone.
You know what I call that? You know what I call that, brother? I call it raw and real.
It is. I mean, like we were talking earlier, real quick. Well, get real quick to Shaw's prospecting. You'll see. A lot of times you'll see Shaw prospecting with it because he puts it on his YouTube channel. I love that. I love promoting people. Like Frank. You guys know what I'm talking about? Exploring abandoned mines,
Mr. Frank. Yep.
Frank, what I love about Frank is, one, he's crazy just like I am. I'd love to meet Frank in real life. He seems like a guy like me where he's just going to tell you the way it is. And if you don't like it,
it is what it is.
But anyways, getting back to, so I like to, when I see these YouTube channels, a lot of times I try to ask them, hey, you mind if I just give you a shout out? Because I don't care if I get a bunch of subscribers or anything like that. I'm not doing it to be famous or anything.
Brother.
Seriously, if I wanted to be famous, I've turned down 7 TV shows. All right.
Amen, brother.
It's not for fame or anything. And that's like I get people on Facebook going, well, you just want to be famous. No, I don't. No. I just want to help people out.
You're spreading knowledge. You're spreading knowledge and positivity. And that's the same thing with the whole Digging Deeper YouTube channel, man. I'm not doing this for viewers. I'm not doing this for anything but to share knowledge with the folks that would love to soak up that knowledge and appreciate what we do for when we do it and how we do it. I'm not in it for the views. And like I was talking to you earlier, with all the other stuff that I do for PB, I'm not in it for anything other than to make people happy and to share the freaking knowledge. Mm-hmm. Because we just, as prospectors, as miners, James as a dredger, all the dredgers, there's not enough knowledge right now to be given out. We need to be giving that knowledge out and
we're dying for a long time. That's like when I'm talking to you about history all the time, and Robert brought it up. Old mines that have been closed since World War II. We lost so much mining knowledge in actually in World War I and World War II.
Yes,
times we needed the lead, we needed the tin, we needed all those other metals that us precious metal guys aren't looking at, but are looking for because it's a good sign, that we might be on gold, because like Rob said, gold rides the iron horse, and in my claim, when I'm finding good gold, I'm always in an iron pyrite deposit.
Or you're finding lots of nails.
Yeah.
Lots of nails, rusty old tools. And just real quick, getting back to the YouTube channel, then I want to explain mine history for people because this is going to help you out figuring shit.
Yeah.
So if you guys do have questions here on Snapshot or whatever, or Robert Viergutz on Facebook, message me if you have, because sometimes I'm real busy. I may give you, all of a sudden you get on Messenger and boom, a thumbs up. Meaning I'll get back to you. Sometimes I get busy, I space you out, and just message me again because that's what I'm here for. That's what I want to do is help people out. So if you do comment on there, Ron a lot of times has to take a cattle prod and go, "Hey, Robert, I'm getting questions back. Look at your freaking comment." Okay.
Right.
Because I don't watch my own YouTube channel. I'm like, that's screw it. I'm living
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's the other thing. Thanks, James, for bringing that up. That is a good question. Start studying your old tin cans. Okay. A lot of people don't realize that, like from the Civil War all the way up to 1880s, they had a disc. Metal detectors hate these discs. But what they did is
Yes.
they had a several part. They had the bottom, the top with a disc, and then a seam that was all leaded. Okay, so when you guys go up to these old mines, what you want to do is be able to look at what is laying there and date that mine to go, okay, this was from this date to this date. Okay, here's the bottle. It's busted. You can't see the whole bottom, but you got the bottom. You can go, well, shit, that's from 1864.
Yeah.
Right.
Square nails. Square nails we love. If we only find square nails, that tells us it's before the 1890s. Okay.
Right.
And so you're always looking at the old history, and and you study the history because, okay, talking about mine closures, a lot of people aren't aware of in the 1890s we had a depression, and a lot of these miners they couldn't get a grub stake. So what happened was they shut down. So if you're up there and you're looking and all you find is all the way up to 1890s and nothing newer, is that a viable mine to go, to start getting samples up and
Yeah.
or like here, Spokane, all that area, we had the 1910 fire. So it could have wiped out everything this miner had. Now he has to go work for a mining company or whatever, and say something comes up, he leaves or whatever, he gets discouraged. Well, now you're looking at that, and you can kind of date it to 1910, but nothing newer. Is that did it burn shut during the 1910 fire? Is he in there? You don't know, but is it a valuable mine? Then World War One. Well, the Depression. Well, World War One. A lot of guys went off and fought and never came back. And so there was a mine sitting there, and it just deteriorated. Then the 30s. The 30s, a lot of mines shut down, so you don't know if it's still a viable mine. And then World War II, the reason why a lot of mines, because of the war effort, it wasn't because they were a gold mine or something like that.
Exactly.
The reason why they shut down is, say, Bunker Hill, the Sunshine, they didn't have enough miners to get what they needed for the war effort, because we needed the copper, the lead, the zinc.
For the supplies,
gold and all that for the war effort. So what the Defense Department said, well, if you're a small mine and you're not producing the quantity of lead and everything that we need, you have to shut down. And so a lot of these mines shut down, one, because they were having a hard time getting able bodies to work. The able bodies they did have, they needed at Bunker Hill or somewhere else. So that's why a lot of these mines after the war, well, during the war effort, what was going on? Scrapping for the war effort. So a lot of these mines were scrapped. And then when they came back, they're like, fuck, we had a mill here. Where is it? The Midas mine up on Libby Creek.
Yeah.
That's what happened to that, is it was blowing up. The mill was, and all the equipment scrapped for the war effort. It was actually sold. But when they went to refire it, they had nothing. So after that. So a lot of these mines, they didn't refire up. So if okay, well, it shut down in the 40s, but it never reopened, is that still valuable mine to go in and mine? So that's why you need to know your history. And that's like up on Libby Creek. I can show you guys hold on here. I have a lot of people that say, hey, Robert, will you come up and look at our claims? All right. And so I'll go up there and say, okay, well, the Long Tom ran here. Here's where their sluice boxes were that were connected to that Long Tom. And I'm looking at their tailings that came out of their sluice box, not the Long Tom, because the Long Tom is usually the big oversized boulder.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what you'll have is my cigarette pack's the long tom, okay? It may run 2-3 miles, may be a couple hundred feet. Off of that, what they had was a space with the grizzly, and they had a sluice box hooked to that. And then over here, another sluice box, another one. As they were mining, they take some of the oversized and they throw it in between the sluice boxes. So you'll literally see like a trench and then another trench going this way with oversized rock. Well, that's right where they were taking the ones that were, and chucking them over. And so you can actually see where their sluice boxes were hooked to this long tom. Well, then you go and you're looking at their tailings from the sluice box, and you're going, okay, they had pole riffles. What's a pole riffle? It's a round log lengthwise in their sluice boxes. They put a bunch of them. All they're trapping is the gold in between the crevices of these long poles going down. That gold's tumbling out. Or they had round riffles where they just take a little pecker pole and run them across like riffles. Well, that gold packs off and everything packs off. It goes up. They had rocks. They'd stack rocks. They had a square riffle. They had, regular riffles. So when you're looking at their tailings, you can go, well, shit, the size of rock and everything there, they're running pole riffles. Get right there and start mining their tailings. And guess what? They already did all the hard work. It's all confined. Or if the Chinese got in there, walk away. Walk away, because the Chinese, they took it all. And so that's the biggest thing, is knowing your history. And, you can go up there and say, okay, here's what it is. Here's what it looked like. Is it valuable to re-mine? Now, you got to realize, look at Murray, Idaho. All right?
Right.
They're on the dredged tailings. They, every once in a while, find a 3/4-inch nugget and bigger, because it was kicked right out of the trommel, right in the oversize and dumped out. And that's the other thing. These old boys, they were after quantity, not quality.
Right, not quality. Yeah.
Yep.
Right,
they didn't care about the small shit. They were just running. And, so look at the monitors, hydraulic mining. Those are monitors, the nozzles on them. When they were blasting the side, getting that down to long tom, there's been times where I went in where they monitor, look and went, oh, well, their sluice box was right here. Well, I'm going to start mining right here. And guess what? I found an astronomical amount of gold.
Wow. That's insane.
You, Jaron. And when we've been up on Libby Creek, I've told you about the long tom.
Oh, yeah.
The couple mile sluices, and when we're walking around in some of those areas you've been in, and then I'll show you a depression, and then
I was going to say, you can see the depressions.
Depression exactly like it again.
Right.
And then you can find again, boom, where there was a nice big long run, and you can look at some of the walls, and they blasted that down.
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't know if you guys seen up where we suction dredge at, the big ancient, it's an ancient dam. It's a big rock wall that the creek finally, went through.
Tapers down.
On the one side, there's a big, huge tailings pile. They had a Marion steam shovel, and then they took wheels off of it because that was trained, steam shovel. Anyways, they made it, they winch it up and dump it in the wash plant. Well, there's a tunnel there, and everybody thought, okay, they tried to dam off Libby Creek and run through the tunnel. Well, the tunnel is 20 feet higher than the creek bottom. And I was sitting there telling people, no, that's for the long tom. That long tom ran all the way up that creek. They blasted through, made a tunnel, and kept on going up. Mm-hmm. Well, then I finally found a map from 1896, and it showed that long tom.
Sure shit. Same spot. Wow.
Yep. And the one thing I want to really stress to you guys is you heard Shannon talking about claim jumpers. All right? People think that they can go up on an unpatented mine and do whatever they want. It is a federal offense. If you are caught up there on a registered mining claim, panning for gold, that gold is that claim holder's gold. Okay? Yeah. If you go, that's the other thing I get so pissed about these YouTube channels. These people go up on these active, valid mining claims, and they think, oh, well, it's not patented, I can go underground. If this says keep out, you are federally trespassing. I had that happen with a YouTuber. Only reason why I didn't call the cops, the sheriffs and that, and have him arrested is I actually like his videos. That was the only thing that stopped me. I'm sitting there watching this, and I forget, I got so many different, I can't remember the name of the guy, but I hope he's watching it.
I know.
I'm sitting there going, that looks like my gold mine tunnel,
Oh,
the
shit.
tunnel. And I'm going, that looks like my air ducting at the old bus. That's my fucking air tank. And then he shows the other one, and then he shows and it says right on the porthole, keep out. The claim papers, everything are hanging right there.
Right.
If I wanted to, all I had to do was call my local sheriff, and he would have put a warrant out for his arrest instantly.
Right.
And that's what these people don't realize, is if they go up to these mines and they are actually claimed, you can be on that claim. Okay? You can fish on it. You can hunt on it now.
Yep.
But if you go underground, you automatically broke a federal offense. Okay?
Right.
That is the claim holder's property.
Well,
if you remove anything mineralized without his permission, it doesn't matter if it's off the waste dump. It is automatically a federal offense. So when you guys are out there and you're panning and all that, make quite sure of where you are panning at. Do not be panning on somebody's claim.
Right.
That's like I had an incident not too long ago. Some of you guys are aware. And it could have turned to gunplay. They were packing.
Yeah.
Of course, I had Lola, my big, huge AR-10, not knowing what's going on. And that was neglect of the United States Forest Service.
Right.
There is a road that is gated. We have to hang a sign on it when we go in, close it, relock it behind us.
Right.
Well, I get down there and I turn the corner and there's a claim marker on the guy's claim. I caretake these 4 claims. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I drive down in there where we suction dredging at, and there's a Jeep sitting there with all these claim papers, markers all over the place. So I'm honking the horn. I got train horns on my freaking truck. Trust me, it's loud. And I'm shooting a couple times, and I'm getting pissed. I'm looking around. Somebody's working my really good friend's claim that I caretake that I also work.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I walked down to the hole in the wall. It's called the hole in the wall because of that mine tunnel. I jumped up on the rocks and I see this guy down there panning, right? And I'm holding my AR-10 because I was taught, if you pull a gun, you better use the gun.
Better use the thing.
So
yep.
I'm just holding it ready. It's pointed down. And I'm yelling at this guy, right? And all of a sudden he freaks out. Well, he could have went, boom, he shot me.
Oh,
because the United States Forest Service didn't tell me there was a guy that had a claim and was using our access road as his. No big deal.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, because he got on the BLM site, and the BLM is so far backed up because I'm not even going to go where I assume.
Right.
Anyways, they got on there, and it's showing it not an active mining claim. So they put a claim on it. Well, guess what? They just lost their money. Well, anyways, I'm yelling at them, telling them to get their ass up to my truck and all that. They get up there, and I'm screaming and yelling, which I was a pompous ass, but I'm pissed.
Anybody would be. Yeah, anybody
so finally,
would be.
Everything calmed down. We are now really good friends. But anyways, they're like, no, BLM told us. I said, no, fucking BLM's full of shit. They don't know where this shit is. They don't walk it. Well, we asked the Forest Service, and they said, okay. That was the other thing. The Forest Service, we have the suction dredge permit. They know where that is. They allowed actually those people on our claim by going, oh, no, that's not claimed, even though they've been up there checking us. So anyways, after we had a good long talk, and I felt bad because one of the guys that ripped me off suction dredging, and we were supposed to partner up, I'll just tell you guys this right now, and split the gold because no one that you work for with a mining company is going to go, hey, you know what? You just helped me out. I'll help you out 50-50. You know? Well, I ended up with 100% of the bills. He ended up with all the gold. To me, it's well worth it. But anyways, that guy had sold them an invalid claim. That's the other thing I want to explain real quick, too, after I'm done with it. So anyways, he heard from the same guy this area wasn't claimed. That guy knew it was bullshit. So anyways, they got a hold of Forest Service BLM. Oh, no, it's okay. Well, anyway, so, he kept on going, I hope you're wrong. I hope you're wrong. I hope it's not claimed. I'm like, look, this guy's had this since 1972. It's claimed.
Right.
And anyway, so after everything we were talking about, I said, well, I'm the caretaker of this place. I said, I'll tell you what, I'm kind of speaking out of my area, but keep on doing what you're doing. At least we know no one's up here claim jumping.
Right.
So I called the claim owners that night, and they're like, you know what, Robert? No, it's cool. Okay, at least we have somebody up there watching out. So, it turned out really good. I made 2 good friends, and they're allowed to go up there all the gold that they find, they get to keep. We don't want it. They're out there enjoying it and all that. But that's where you guys have to watch out, because guess what? That could have turned in gunplay.
It could have turned, it could have turned,
And not knowing they were breaking the law. So when you guys are doing this stuff, you have to respect that claim holder.
Well, that and do your due diligence, do your research. If you're going to go out and you're going to enjoy yourself and have fun and find gold and stuff like that, do your research. It's not hard to do your research. And with that same subject, it's like, it sounds like they did their research, but they were let down by the BLM or by the Forest Service. They were let down because they themselves were misinformed, and then ran into the actual claim owner. But at the end of the day, the least you could do is do your due diligence, do your research. Try to find a phone number or anything in that area. Try to talk to locals, whatever you can do to figure out whose claim that is. Try to, don't just go in there blindfolded, and start panning.
Most of the miners I know, like myself, I tell people, I'll go up there, have fun, go up there rock hounding, whatever on the waste dump, just take it. Please don't go underground. Of course, ours are all gated shut.
Right.
But, that's the other thing. I have people that go up there and rip my gate off, steal my tools. I'll tell you what, right now, if I caught somebody in that mine coming out with something, it's not going to be pretty, because I have laws that I can do
that protect you with your
my claim, and it ain't good because it goes off the old laws that have never been changed. Right. So that's the problem. And don't get me wrong, there is some miners out there that are complete assholes. I've ran into a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of times when you ask, you find that person and say, hey, I just like to go up there panning, blah, 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 blah. A lot of us are like, hey, go have fun. I do want to introduce you to somebody. This is one of my, not because he's my son, but he is one of my top hands because he does everything I tell him to, and he doesn't get buttered.
Bring him on the show. Bring him on the show.
Hey, hi, Reed. Come here and sit down. He's big boy. Switching down. Yeah.
What's going on, man? How you doing, buddy?
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the Digging Deeper podcast. It's good to see you and finally meet you. Your dad talks very highly of you, brother.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, he knows, Robert. He knows. He already knows you talk highly of him.
I can tell.
Yeah, he's one of my number one little miners. He's right there with his dad, learning everything he can. He doesn't complain about working. You tell him to do something, he does it.
That's awesome.
You can't find kids like this anymore. I mean, they're very few.
They're far and few between. And, one thing that you'll take, especially from this podcast, is, your dad is something else. Your dad has a lot of knowledge. He's been through a lot. He's been through top, bottom, left, and right. So the one person, he has a lot of respect from the mining community. And, one thing you can take from this, buddy, is your dad's a hell of a man. So for him to have you work for him and have you go through all the trials and tribulations of mining, that's something you can take into the future for many years to come. So definitely be very proud that you got a dad that you have, and Robert, be very proud that you have the son you have, man, because what you've said, he seems like a very, very good son indeed. That's for damn sure.
Yes,
That's for
and
damn sure.
always learning. I mean, anything he sets his mind to, he can accomplish.
Yep.
That's all I ask.
I agree. I agree.
And anybody that can put up with me is a miracle.
And that's what I was just saying. Your dad's been through top, bottom, left, and right, and he's going to steer you in the right way 110% with all of the stuff that he's been through.
Mistakes.
The knowledge,
stupid.
right? The knowledge.
Learn from them.
That's just what it is. That's just what it is. Any mistakes you make is teaching yourself to get to the point where you want to be, in your future with mining. You're not going to ever learn anything if you don't have mistakes. That's just what it is. That's just what it is.
That's just life in general. You don't learn unless you make mistakes.
It was like the second time I went up to the mine, he told me to put the tote in the back of the side by side, and I put it at the on the ground. So we were filling up like a ton of blocks into there. So, and then he comes down and he's like, "Really?" And then we had to all pick it up and put them in the side by side.
Re-unload it, put the buckets in where they should be, and then load it back up.
Yeah.
Actually, we did the miner's trick. The hell with the back and the knees. Pick the damn thing up full, and he'll tell you it was heavy, but we got it in there. But he's almost my size. And I mean, he's 12 years old, frickin' 14 size shoe. Yeah.
The fact that he's your son and he loves doing what you're doing. And for two, the fact that he genuinely enjoys going up to those mines and has fun doing it is 1 in a million.
Yeah, it is.
1 in a million.
One thing I wanted to say, what was that?
I share that with what you have with your son. My daughter is my very first prospecting partner. And so she, and Jared's seen her work, she can work with adult guys, and it's just fun to watch. And and you're proud to see it, and when she doesn't know something, she asks. She makes a mistake, doesn't cover it up.
Yeah.
Tells you she screwed the fuck up. And we go on and learn from it.
You see the pride. You see the pride in it from your own kid, and that's what makes your world. That's exactly what makes your world, is seeing that pride and that joy that they have in their face. Because your own kids want to see, you proud of them. Yeah. And the little mistakes they do is what's making you even more proud. Yeah. Because they're learning from that. Yeah. They're gaining knowledge from that. And that's what counts. That's what makes it worth it.
And I'll tell you what, they grow up quick.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right on that. I got a 9-year-old and I got a 4-year-old, and my wallet's getting thinner by every second. I tell you what.
I have one in college and I have one in high school. So
You're old.
Yeah, you're an old bag, James.
Hey. With age comes wisdom, fellas. With age comes wisdom.
Amen to that. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up the podcast. Mr. Robert, I really enjoyed you coming on the podcast.
Yeah, I enjoy you guys, man.
There'll be many more. There'll be many more to come. James, as always, as my co-host, man, I love you to death, brother, and I'm glad you were able to jump on, make it happen.
Real quick, if you do make it to Libby and going to come over, give me a couple days heads up, and I'm going to get your asses underground.
You got it, brother.
All right. Libby Creek's one of my favorite places. So
we're looking forward. We're looking forward to next season and seeing all the crazy shit that James has me do when I get over there. So we'll definitely keep in touch.
Oh, we'll definitely will, and you better bring a pickup because it'll be loaded down when you go back.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
Yeah,
that's right. All right, well, you guys have a good night. Everybody watching, I hope you got some knowledge from Mr. Robert. Like I said, we'll have many more podcasts to come with Big Dog. He is just a fountain of knowledge. He is a good man, and he's very respected in the mining community. So, again, thank you, Robert, for being on the podcast.
You're welcome. And like I said, any questions, just feel free to get a hold of me. I'm here to help each other out because that's what us miners do. We do not screw each other over. We help each other out.
That's what we do.
That's right. It's nothing but love and positivity. That's all what I practice and preach in prospecting, buddy. It's nothing but love and positivity.
And when and the other thing real quick is if you do think you found something special and you get the assay reports back, or, you have somebody like myself help you out, and all of a sudden I give you a call and say, hey man, it's not worth it. Don't get discouraged. Go find another one. Okay.
Yep.
Keep it going. Because eventually you're going to be like me and the other people. You're going to find something good.
Yep.
And when you're out there in the creek, don't think of making millions just because you're already making millions with memories.
Memories. Family, friends. That's right.
Yep.
That's right. That's right.
Anyways, I'm going to sign off. You guys have a wonderful, beautiful night. Everybody
You guys have a good night. You guys have a good night as well. Robert, like I said, thank you for being on the podcast. You guys have a good night.
All right. You too, brother.
See you guys.